morning, Joseph. Where are you from?
Chicago.
Oh,
The
nice.
windy city. Pretty windy right now. Cold.
Is that windy?
Can be so.
Okay.
Well, today I am thrilled to be able to meet with you and talk about birthday party planning. So my company is our theme, our logo for our company has to do with bigger is better. So our birthday parties, we want to make the news. They're gonna be so surprised at the size and quality of the extravagance of our birthday parties that it's gonna be on the 6 o'clock news tonight. That's how fantastic our birthday parties are. So, talk to me about the kind of birthday party you want to plan.
I want to plan a big birthday party with lots of cars, like Jeeps and Hummers. I would like a water slide.
Well, you have all kinds of ideas. So, let me back it up a little bit for 1 second. So, you want to plan a birthday party for yourself, or are you talking about planning for someone else?
Yeah, myself.
Fantastic. Is it a significant number? You're turning 50?
29.
29. That's bigger than turning 30. Everybody usually plans their 30th birthday party out big, but you're going for 29.
No, I want 29.
Okay, for yourself. Fantastic. Though this would be easy, we don't have to guess on what someone else would like. Okay, let's start off with talking about how big we want it. So if you didn't have any limitations as far as location or budget or anything, if the stars were the limit, talking about how many people would you think would be there? We're talking 20, we're talking 200, or talking 1,000?
Yeah, 200, 300 people, I think that'll be enough.
Okay, 200, 300 people. Fantastic. And you mentioned that you like Jeeps and Hummers and water slides. I can see how Jeeps and Hummers kind of go categorically together, and the water slides would be a fun thing.
I have a pool, but it'd be nice if someone could maybe come and hook up a huge water slide to it into my pool.
Okay. Yeah, we can do anything. All right, let me ask you a few more questions, okay? So we'll just hold on the water slide for a minute because we're talking about that's a fun thing to do. But let's talk about theme for a minute. So a theme for a party.
Star Trek. I want Star Trek.
Star Trek. So Star Trek and Jeeps and Hummers.
Star Trek kind of mixed with an African safari theme.
Okay, African Safari, Star Trek, and when you're talking about African Safari, that's where we can start to incorporate the Jeeps and the Hummers? Or we want to talk...
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. All right, fantastic. I have some fabulous ideas already stewing. Okay, so, Star Trek. Next Generation or original?
Next Generation. I want to wear the costumes, and I want to look just like, you know, how they say, beam me down. But, yeah, so I want to be beamed down, but I want to be beamed down to an African safari adventure. So I want to be able to look for a way to go back to... I want to be able to go back to the starship.
Okay, fantastic. Sounds like you've got some great ideas. Okay, so I have some fantastic ideas. We can get Captain Picard. I understand that he is he is available for rent. At the actor who
Oh,
plays
that's great.
Captain Picard. From what I understand, he just came off of he does classical Shakespeare acting on the stage in England. But from what I've heard on the streets is that he's back in America and he's going to be getting ready to film a movie soon. So I believe that it wouldn't be that difficult to get him. Now, of course, we're talking about the price is going to be something we want to discuss for being able to get him.
Oh, I don't care about the price.
Fantastic. Captain
I'm
Picard.
rich, so it doesn't matter.
Captain Picard, it is, and we can get him. I also have some connections that worked on the set for the Next Generation television show, and I'm sure we can get them to come and build us an Enterprise. I'm trying to remember the term. What's that called? Where the captain sits.
Enterprise. Enterprise?
The Enterprise is the ship, but where does all the crew sit? The window looks out. What's that called? The come to the board. Come to the
bridge?
The bridge. That's what we want. Yeah. So we'll have them recreate us a bridge that we can interact with, and hopefully have that fully functional. And be able to do stuff with there, so it's not just a prop
yeah,
that it can function. So you look like you have an idea. Talk to me.
So what if we had kind of like a tree house thing, and then we had the bridge that would come down to, we had a bridge up on top of the treehouse, and then we had the water slide connected to the treehouse, and then that way I can be beamed up and down via that way.
You read my mind. So what I was thinking, though, is how to be able to incorporate the African safari. So let me back it up just for 1 second. You said that at your home you have a swimming pool. One of the concerns I have about having it at your home is that I would love to be able to recreate an African safari. So when they beam down and they go down that water slide, we're recreating the down area when they leave the ship as the African safari.
I'm sorry, what was that? You leave the ship at the African safari?
When you beamed down off of the ship, that you beam down to the African safari. So if you go down the water slide, and that's the recreation of how you beam down, is it down the water slide, that you become the African safari. So around where your swimming pool is at your home, would you be comfortable being able to have some live animals in that area?
Yeah, that's cool. I think it'd be cool to have tigers and lions and giraffes and elephants, but make sure the tigers make sure they're old and they can't eat anyone.
Well, we'll definitely make sure that safety is a top concern. We want to make sure the guests enjoy themselves and that they go home.
But I'm curious if... Oh, they don't have chains on them or anything? Are they just free to roam around? Can we do that?
Unfortunately, we cannot because of the liability, but I do have some connections that we can get a hold of some live animals, but they would have to be restrained because, nature, we don't want anybody being eaten. So we would have to restrain them, and whether that's a caged restraint or a sort of leashed restraint, I'm unsure, and I can find out some information with those animal handlers and find out what it is that they need to make sure that the safety is also... safety of the animals and safety of the guests is a top priority, of course, with the animals. And we can bring in an environment that recreates what those guys would look like. And we can recreate that around your swimming pool. And so the animals would be in that area, and then the African tundra, that African safari, would be in that zone. What kind of acreage do you have around your pool?
I have 30 acres, so whatever you want.
Fantastic. So what we can recreate is an African safari that incorporates the Jeeps and the Hummers. They would actually the guests would go on a safari tour out amongst your 30 acres, and we can recreate that African tundra. And
cool. Yeah.
But what you mentioned before about having sort of a treehouse sort of idea, we can definitely do that with the Starship Enterprise. And so that area would recreate and mimic space. So around it would look like stars, or would look like the blackness of space. So that whole area would look very, very different than the safari, the African tundra area. So those areas would be very, very different, and but would be able to still blend seamlessly. So the experience of it all would be what the guests are taking away with them. Let's talk about catering. Are we going to make this a one-night meal? Are we going to, a one-night event?
Yeah,
or are we going to have this a multiple-day event?
Maybe make it. I was thinking 2 days.
Okay, a 2-day event. And do you have guests? Do you have lodging around your property for 200 guests? We can also arrange with the nearby hotel for lodging for those guests.
A hotel, yeah.
Okay, and along with lodging.
Or I can force them to camp in the African safari. Like in the animals.
Fantastic. We can provide the camping facilities there.
The animals will be like next to the tents and stuff.
Okay. Well, let me work up a couple of proposals. We can come up with some lodging that recreates a tent but gives them the luxury and the comfort of the Four Seasons Hotel. So it provides them with the comfort of a hotel, but the look and the theme of the African safari. Yeah, we can look into that as well. So we can, obviously for a 2-day event, we are going to cater more than one meal. Would you like that, the meal catering to be thematic? Would you like that to be an African safari type theme meal? Would you like that to be a Star Trek type meal? Or would you like the meals to just be food that aren't necessarily themed?
I think it'd be a cool Star Trek theme when we're all up there, you know? And like have weird food. And then you know, maybe like Chinese food or something. And then when you go down the water slide, it becomes like a barbecue, and like maybe when you go back up, they have weird food again.
Okay, talk to me when you say weird food. And I heard you say Chinese. So are you saying that the Chinese food would be the space food? Is that the weird food?
Yeah, like you know, faux Thai soup, you know, that I consider that very, very weird. So maybe something like that. And then down at the barbecue, you know, meat, pork, you know, whatever.
Oh. Okay, and I've got some ideas. I know a couple of chefs who are fantastically imaginative. And so what I would love to be able to do, I'm a little bit afraid when you say Thai or Chinese food, I'm a little bit afraid of providing, to give offense to some of your guests, that when you call that's the weird food, we don't want your Thai or your Chinese guests to think that their food is the weird food. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure that we're being culturally sensitive.
I don't mean weird, but
Let me tell you this idea. I've got my chefs that I have contact with. They're very clever. They're very clever, and if we give them a Star Trek theme, I'm sure they can come up with something that it would be very edible and be familiar food, but it would have something quirky about it that would create that sort of, this is unique and futuristic or spacey about it. Okay, so we can get some, we can get in touch with the chefs, and they will provide some tasting days for you as well, that they can prepare some dishes, and then you'll be able to meet with the chef and find out what their ideas are, and you can taste those and approve or decline anything that they propose as well. Okay? and they will take care of everything on site. They'll provide the services and the space for cooking and everything like that will be in their realm, and so they'll take care of all of those things. We don't have to know the expertise of the chef. We'll leave that up to them. Okay? We have a Jenny.
Ah,
This was great.
He is crazy.
Yeah.
That was awesome. He's gonna have a birthday party for himself, and it is Star Trek with African safari together.
Water slide.